spoke to my grandmother, and his father, my Aja, he decided to make a spin to see, about there's a scene about, this kind of problem. So he went across to San Fernando and he walked up and he see she, he talked to she. He come home, so Ma say, so Hannah, where was he? Said, well, I went to San Fernando to see this girl, talking about. She said, so you see him? Say, yeah. So where does she? Say, well, where does she nothing, eh? Ma say, well, that's all right, she coming tomorrow. So, I haven't done the arrangement already. He was Mama's eyeball. He was, and everybody was calling him, the splitting image of Mama. He had a lot of her habits, a lot of her ways. He had her heart. He had her anger. He had her discipline. He had a lot of things. He even had a lot of her looks. But he is one thing you have to say, that he always had her love. In the 1980s, he moved to build this house for that time. This was the back of the house at that time. Built this house, and we moved across here. And both my sisters were born here. I was about 6 years old when Anthony was born. And then about 10 when Arima was born. And he, in the morning, my father used to wake up like 3:30 in the morning, because he went to Spain. There was only one lane highway. And he make sure in the morning, get up, we wake us up. Well, they were babies. And I come downstairs at that age, well, I want to drink my coffee. I don't want tea and I want coffee. By the time I reached downstairs, I have a cup of coffee with him. And Jenny or Aruna, whichever one of them I was young at the time, was on the little rocker, the little hand stroke pram and baby whole business. And he used to bring them downstairs. He put them on the counter, make a bottle for them to drink the bottle while he preparing the takari to cook. My mother come downstairs, she organized how to cook takari roti, and he would go upstairs, be changed. And then his first thing after that was to the prayer room to ensure he did his morning prayers. But that was, no matter what, that was routine, that was schedule, that was law. Not only for him, but for us too. He ensured that we all grew up to respect our religion and to make sure that we have that amount of, how would I say, protection, he used to say. At the beginning of each day, we pray to God first. Over here, he also was part of the community. He was a member of one of the founding members of the Motivational Center. I didn't confirm with Uncle Harry, but he was one of the first other members of the Augustine Settlement County Council, or Village Council. He was one of the founding members of the Hindu Prachar Kendra. He was a member in each of our PTA boards for each school that we attended. He was, well, for his purposes, a close friend to our teachers. Very close. He used to be in school probably more than some of the teachers. And he was always concerned and cared for us and our well-being and our education, and wanted to make sure that we did the best we could. And if there was anything that we weren't saying that he could have picked up from the teachers, he would have picked it up and made a lot of, I would say, improvements. His free time was in the garden from very young till he couldn't do it anymore. And the reason he couldn't, the one and only reason he couldn't do it anymore was because of the high risk of slipping and falling. He loved the garden. He loved the land. From the time he reached home from work, come home, he would make a sandwich, change his clothes, eat, have that sandwich, drink a cup of tea or whatever, and he in the garden. He would only come in probably about dusk dark, 6 or 6, that kind of time. And the only reason he come in that kind of time is to bathe and change to ensure that he like eat evening there. So he would have done that and made sure that he peeled the curry for tomorrow breakfast now. So while he watching TV and others doing homework and writing a paragraph and other kind of things, he peeling the curry, watching news, TTT Panorama. He always had his schedule, always had his schedule. No matter what, he maintained that schedule even till the last few days. He would have always maintained that schedule as best as he could. But, any good things, my cousins, and I mean that there are so many names to call, but when I just make sure and call, Sean, Justin, Satish, and there, you have Rena, Sandy, Kim, Peggy, Andy, Mandy, Satish, Rika. Then I have Victoria, Wendy, Shalian, Nisha, Anderson, Lisa, Satyam. Each and everyone, Shabnam. Each and every one of them, and plus more, I show Lou. I say Lou. Each and everybody, they all thought he was the best fella ever. And I used to be, what's wrong with all that? How I could think that? I again looks like crazy and all they telling me about, he fun? Kim said, at one point in time, Kim used to say, why is my best uncle ever? Till she started whooping. And it is those days. He made sure that we had good days. He made sure, even if it was just us home, we always made sure we had cake, ice cream, and we celebrated the good day. We also could be who, it doesn't matter. We made sure we celebrate those good days. I have to say, some of the best birthdays. Ravi is always talk. My father decided, when I had, I don't know how much it is, to carry children from the village to the zoo and the botanical gardens for my birthday. Well, I feel real good there. As the boss, I'm the bum. You're good to go. Until me and Ravi was walking around, my hat fall inside the tiger cage. I say, Rav, what are we going to do, boy? Just hide it. You go over it, Say, yeah, good. Glad to say we didn't go because he catch you. But at that age, we really didn't know. And he would have been one to help us and guide us and show us. My father always ensured that we don't grow up and think everything was just so. Almost everything that is around here would have been done with himself and myself included, work-wise, mixing concrete. I remember many times a lot of cousins would have helped. Uncle Vishnu would have been there helping. My mother used to do concrete up and down. My deceased uncles, Uncle Siva, someone here would have welded a lot of these steel hooks and things. He made sure everything was a family thing. And our family was like that. And he made sure that we stayed together, that we did these things together. He faced every challenge in his life very methodically. And he had a plan for everything. I not so much. But he had a plan. Everything itself, he had a plan for. And I mean, even himself, he in Arima Hospital with COVID, and he calling us to find out. So they call what they call Leroy. What Leroy coming to do? He cutting the grass alone, or he trimming the plants, or and he making sure that these things are done, and it is done the how he wanted. I dare not do anything in this house without passing it by him first, because no matter how well I do it, if I do it by myself, he will have a problem with that. One of the very good things that I must say, I'm glad from the surgery here, he would have been our very first guru in religion. My father made sure from the earliest of ages that we were trained properly, taught properly in religion, music, Hindi. We learned to read, at a very young age, we started to read Ramayana and Ravi and I were in the same age growing up, Rishi. And he made sure that he was there all the time. Just the other day I was talking, he liked to sing there. Last time he was talking, Uncle I was talking about the songs, and Ravi was saying how my song was Saila Gaishwar, and he had one song, my father had one song too. Every time I asked him to sing, one song he sang. And you know, that was Shiva Shambhu Dino Kibandhu. And he made sure that we were comfortable to do these things. He made sure that we were comfortable to do these things. He had, when he did some surgeries on his spine, he bought a pool because he thought the rehab people wasn't doing a good job. The physical rehab people wasn't doing a good job, so he bought a pool. And he started to do his own physical therapy, which of course he did every day. And Arianality would have learned to swim in that pool because he ensured that every day for sure, and sometimes twice a day. They in the pool and they swimming. And he supervised it. He making sure everything, whether he in the pool or out of the pool. He making sure they're okay, he always with them. He had a lot of hard times, but he never made it, you know. Yes, he harassed us, all of us. All of us in the day, all of us in the night, for sometimes nothing, but he didn't make a fuss. He didn't make a fuss. He made sure that whatever he wanted, he would have called us, he would have asked it, and the only reason he was doing that is because we quarreled him. Because he used to do it himself, and we were really very afraid to do some of those, for him to do some of those things. I really, and I forgot to talk about the Queen's Park over Shamberson. The Queen's Park, Savannah, playing cricket. He loved to play cricket, he loved playing all fours. I mean, he loved the beach, oh gosh, he loved the beach. Every weekend we used to be in the beach. Satya reminded us, he used to take them kid on that every weekend, or every other weekend. Manzanola, every other weekend. Tuesdays was kid on that, yes. Because I think the car was a certain price, a cheap price or something, I think. Yeah. And he did a lot of things. He did a lot of things for us. He spent a lot of time with us. And not only me and my sister, but also cousins. He made sure that everybody was happy. And I admired my father my whole life. We probably didn't see eye to eye in a lot of things, but we had a certain understanding, obviously. And, you know, quietly sometimes we would talk about some of these things. And, well, I mean, obviously I was wrong. I'm not two ways about that. And he was right. And that is okay, that is fine, because he made sure that I could stand here today and talk on his behalf, on the behalf of my sisters, on behalf of my mother, my children, on behalf of my family. Dad, I love you very, very much. I would have told you that while you were alive. We all would have shown you that while you were alive. I don't think any one of us would have any regret at all, because at any point in time between Anthony, myself, and Aruna, we always made sure that whatever his needs were, we tried our best to make sure that he had that arrangement sorted out. Anthony was the one who was really spearhead on that. My mother made sure that he was comfortable, and she, no matter what, she used to remain waking. And she was probably sometimes go to sleep 3 o'clock in the morning just to make sure that, you know, his nightly needs were met. In case he called and Anthony do answer, she did. So I would like to really, on behalf of myself and my 2 sisters, my 2 daughters, to say, Dad, we love you very much. On behalf of my mother, you have given us and blessed us with a wonderful, wonderful life. And we, who we are, where we have reached, it is all in big, big thanks to you. That is my humble part. Auntie Sita, Dad's younger sister, and Sister has a few words to say on behalf of his sisters and brothers. Well, one brother presently with us, the rest would have died. Auntie Sita.
Sitaram, everybody. Baya. That's how we were trained to call him. Because when I was born, he was already an adult. So Mama and Papa both instilled in us that you can't call him by his name. So that's how we call him. Even the children would call him Uncle Baya. You know, we were never allowed to call him in his name. That is how we all looked up to Baya. To me, he was a father figure. He was more than a brother. I admired him greatly as a child, mostly because of his educational accomplishments. You know, he was somebody that we could follow, the younger ones, to strive forward educationally and otherwise. So I have memories of him as a young boy is not with me, but I know him as an adult, and my sister Marty, who lived right next door here, were very, very close to him as a child and also as growing up as adults. She and her husband Tony live right across there. She's in Louisiana now, and she asked me to read these messages. So this is directly from Marty's notes. I affectionately call Mommy, for you all who know her. On the demise of a sibling, numerous images of your life spent together are projected in rewind and forward, made in your subconsciousness. Joy and sadness encompasses your entirety, reliving the special memories of a life lived together by our bigger brother. A gem of a person. As a youth, he was very ambitious and practical and determined to succeed in life. He took on his journey to be educated, you know, he sort of did a self-education with the support of my parents, you know, whatever finances they would have had then, which was very little. You know, big sister and Jody would know more. So in his strive to reach that point, he passed the school leaving exam. And the school he was going to would have been Couva. I can't say the name right now, but it would have been a distance, and my father had a bicycle that he was very old and packed down, and he used to cycle to Caroni, and he had bought a new one, and Baya took that old bicycle, and it was near to throwing away, and he fixed it well enough to cycle to Couva every day and back up until he did O-levels. He wanted to make a better life for himself, but he ultimately made a better life for all of us. He was the first person in our village, you know. In those days, it was a big deal to have a car, a vehicle. Maybe he couldn't afford it, but however he did it, together with my brother, Boise, who passed on. They were very, very close, very. They both knew. We never forgot that car because we were all so excited. PP 767. You know, 10 of us would fit in that car. You know, Mama and Papa were so I can't explain the feeling they had in those days that my child could have a vehicle to take me out, to take out your parents in those days in a car was something as a parent that you would have accomplished. And they were so always proud of Baya. I think they looked up to him as an adult, for advice as well. I remember as a child that whenever Baya is there, Mama and Papa and him, I would go in the room and lock the door. It means they were discussing something about building or money or his advice on a project. And that's the person my parents would have turned to as well for that kind of pillar of strength and support. This ambitious he had led him to be successful and to set the pace for us, the younger sibling. Sujit mentioned about him being the backbone of forming that sports and cultural club, and that was the best thing that happened to us as children. It was something like the Chinmaya mission where we were allowed to get together as children. We weren't aware then, but it was a way of not doing wrong things in those days, of having meetings every week, of knowing what a president and vice president, the structure of a board should be. As children, he made sure we all were involved. Tony was the president. I don't know if Tony and then we would have been secretary, assistant secretary. I mean, we were very young, but we were given that responsibility. And I think he instilled that leadership quality in us since then. I wasn't even aware of it until in my office I automatically asked to do speeches, and I do it, and I'm wondering, Baya is responsible for all of that, for making us that kind of person as he did with his children. So he was responsible for many village events like a sports club did. Like Sujit said, he was responsible for the club was responsible for getting pavement, digging that ravine, that river. It used to always flood, and the group also was responsible for that. And of course, Baya was the go-to person. Should we do this? Can we do this? We would hold bazaars and have raise funds. So it was so interactive. We weren't aware, but he was so instrumental in interacting us. I think because of that group, Marty and Tony got married. That's when they met. And his aim was to bring the youths together, and now you see the Prime Minister and the government trying to do that same community spirit and trying to get the youths together into some activities so that they can stay away from crime in other areas. This was by input into the whole of King Village. He was powerful, he was built, when I was very young, I always thought he was the most handsome person. He was, even all my brothers were adults, and they were like really tough, and they had this strength mentally, and in his voice. I don't know if they got it from Mama, because, Sonny say Mama. And they were so powerful in their words and their deeds. I never could reach that point. I tried, but, and I admired him all the time. He was always ready. Let me go back to his being powerful, and he got a nickname at young. The village called him Power, which eventually changed into Poa, it was, but the real name was Power, because he was so powerful as a person. He was always ready to offer futuristic advice, both personally and otherwise. He encouraged us to bring out our best and also supported our endeavors. And we also had to read The Guardian every day, Sujit. During the summer vacation, if Chetlal and Malti, I don't know if Siwa remember, he would assign each part. I don't know if Johnny would have been involved. Before he went to work and we on holidays, he would have assigned us each part of the newspaper to read. And when he come home, we had to answer questions. I must have failed that a million times. Because playing cricket and thieving mango was much better than reading the newspaper. But we had to do it, and we did it. When he started earning an income, we, the younger siblings, were the happiest people in the world. For the first time in our lives, we were getting an allowance of $2 a month. We never knew what allowance meant because our parents weren't so financially well off, and we understood that. So for Bayer to give us $2 in the 70s, that was like, it was like a treasure. We were so grateful. He was also very serious in looks. I mean, if you don't know him and you see him, you might, just keep behind your line. But Mama would always say that he had a roar of a lion, so that, he was so powerfully, in whatever he's saying. He was naturally the spokesperson at all family functions, a live wire at any get-together. Totally a family man. He never missed a family get-together. On family outings as children, when we would go beaches, and I don't know if you all remember, but you would know when they were all living home by Mama with their spouses. At one time we had 3 brothers and 3 spouses, and it was so nice. I enjoyed that time of our lives. It was so good. So we all would go beaches, and our line of cars, Bayer would make sure his car was at the back of that line. His purpose was that in case any one of us get in difficulties, or if anything happened to our car, of course his car would have probably been the newer vehicle. So he was behind us, making sure that we all were protected, a family protector. As he traversed this new journey, may he continue to find peace and happiness in his new abode. Meeting our loved ones who have preceded him, Mama and Papa, our parents, big sister, my brother, Boise, and Chitla. May his soul rest in peace. Goodbye, Bayer. To all your children and Boji, I want to say thank you all for taking such good care. I know how challenging that could be, because we were there at one point in time. And to know that you didn't waver and you kept at it as a group, as a family, is very admirable. Thank you all. Ram Nam Satyahari. So now I'm going to ask to sing a bhajan. Anyone of the family want to come up with me, please? I need some chorus. Kim, Peggy, Annie, Trudy. Satya, Pamela, come up. Where's Pamela? I don't know if I requested this song that this family did, and if you all know it, it's in Shruti Bindu. Please help. This is us saying farewell to him. Hopefully his light, his soul has traveled already or is traveling, his Atma, to meet that Param Atma, which is the bigger being. And this song clearly describes that. We need to let him go, let him travel. So, Jyoti Bindu Paramatma se hai meri Atma ab chal kare milan. प्रभु भक्ति का मूल मंत्र है, संपूर्ण समर्पण। हे आत्मा चल प्रभु को सौंप दे, तू सारा जीवन। ओ देख प्रभु तेरे निकट विराजे, ओ देख प्रभु तेरे निकट विराजे, कर ले अभिवादन। ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से, है मेरी आत्मा, अब चल कर ले मिलन, अब चल कर ले मिलन, अब चल कर ले मिलन। ज्योति बिंदु के प्रेम सिंधु में चल आज नहा ले, परम पिता का प्रेम पत्र बंद कर, तू शुभ वर पाए। ओ किरण किरण को निरख नयन से, ओ किरण किरण को निरख नयन से, हो जा मन में मगन। ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से, है मेरी आत्मा, अब चल कर ले मिलन, 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 अब चल कर ले मिलन। Uncle Lloyd, do we have a minute to sing this, a chorus of song?
Well, you know, my brother, he was very active in the temple, and we used to have little skits in the temple. And one day as we went for practice, I was booed down. And we came home, and he said, "You're so stupid. Why you don't try?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I get frightened and I don't know what to do." But in the Monday, we had a little skit there, and we had to prepare ourselves, right? So he came home. He said, "Come on, start and sing this song." I said, "Well, I have no drum or nothing." He went in the kitchen. He bring Mama basin, and he started to sing this song. You know, he used to dance a lot. He loved dancing. So the song was, "Bhaiya mere राखी के बंधन को निभाना, भैया मेरे छोटी बहन के न भुलाना, भैया मेरे राखी के बंधन को निभाना, भैया मेरे छोटी बहन के न भुलाना, भैया मेरे ये जिंदगी और खुशी का पावन जैसे हीर नदी का, माई की उतरे माता पीहन पीहन डाले मंगल की का, जो मैंने सावन सोहा। And at this stage, he's dancing like this. के बंधन को निभाना, भैया मेरे छोटी बहन के न
love you.
All right, well, I didn't think we would get a dance performance, but we do appreciate it very much, Auntie Joni. Thank you very much. I myself have never seen my father dance. The only time I see a movie hand like that was with the whip to hit me. or the belt or whatever it was. But we can't talk about that. I would now like to introduce my mother's youngest brother. Before I do that, I would just like to recognize Pandit Satish Ramnak. Pandit Ramnak is the president of the Canada Ashram, and he's a very active member in the, well, used to be in the political field and now in much in the religious field also. Uncle Vishnu is my mother's youngest brother. Uncle Vishnu used to live here at the time. So his clothes and my clothes were very close in terms of fit. So I say, enjoy wearing his clothes. So I say, crack my tail. There is big people clothes. There's not for you to wear. So, Uncle Vishnu, I would like to say a few words on behalf of.
Thank you very much, Sajid, Panditji, Swamiji, and Panditji. To each and every one of you all, my nieces, my sister. Sunny boy Bhola Kanhai, sunny boy, sunny. It's a very sunny weather today, and this morning when the body came and they took it inside, and the reflection of the sun, and it looked so really beautiful. He looked so natural, so normal, and he looked just like the Bhola, the sunny boy that we have known. He's my brother-in-law. He got married to my sister in 1975, of course, from a year or so before he became a part of the family. It was formalized in 1975. Most importantly, he developed a tremendous relationship with all of us, with my mother, his mother-in-law. He developed very, very early, even before the marriage, of course. Son-in-law, deep son-in-law relationship, and he treated her just like his mother with all the respect and everything. With my brothers, they had that special relationship with his Sarubais, with Mikey, with Clifford, and of course with Gopal, and then another Bhola who lives abroad as well with his Sarubai, my sister's spouses. They have had that very special relationship, and certainly with all the nephew and nieces from my mother's side, he always shared a special bond. And most importantly, I think with the Prasad family, with the Kanhai family, we have always had that beautiful, loving bond, and Bhola would have taken a lot of pride and pleasure in the occasions when he hosted certain functions here, and two particular occasions will be Diwali, when everyone is always welcome. You don't need an invitation, but on Olia's night, where everyone always gathered here, it had become, he was so glad to be the person and to be the hosting family for everyone, family and friends and so on. We had some really great moments here, in celebrating, ushering in, the new year. When Bhola came into the village, this very parcel of land and the surrounding area, really, on this side of the road was lagoon. It was rice land, and he was the very first person who, upon purchase of the land, he developed the area, he built up the area, and he built a home for his family. And subsequent to that, there would have been further developments. As we see now, it's hugely not only residential but commercial area. So he was pioneering in that regard. The one thing I would just like to say, in being brief, is that Sujit and they always talk about a newspaper. Ever since I was young, because I was in primary school when he got married, and when he came here to live, every single day I used to come across here to read the newspapers. The Express and the Guardian, the news they came out after, and he used to buy them all. I read them all, and we always used to have discussions as to what's happening in the news as well. as in sport. He was a very avid sports fan. As an accountant by profession and practice, he would have inspired several of his niece-nephews to pursue a profession in that direction. And as a person who is always, who plans well, who is very meticulous in his planning, I think it's no surprise that Anthony and one or two others would have gone the route also of mastering in project management. I think on behalf of the Persad family, my brother Harry, and those who would have departed, Chofil, Andre, my sisters, Dolly Didi, Piari Didi, Shanti, Pearl, Vidya, on behalf of their families, I would like to say Bhola had impacted on all of us in a very beautiful and wonderful way. And you know, the inevitable thing in life is we all have to go on the G. Did mention that you're born, and at some stage, you know, we have to depart, and in between that period, it's what you do with your life. It comes to that. What by the impact he would have had in the community. He was an executive on the village council. One of the greatest sports day we would have had at the Savannah Linehead Road Augustine Settlement Recreation Ground would have been one in which, you know, he played an instrumental role. He would have organized a lot of the prizes, and then subsequent to that, he would have had several family sporting activities right in the very road and in the premises here. So on that note, we bid Sonny boy Bhola Kanhai farewell, goodbye. He has lived a good and a full life, and you know, it's where at some stage we all have to go. Sit down.
Thank you all very much to all the singers and speakers this morning. While I was sitting there, I got a little bit worried just now, because I know that the bars are still closed. I understand from Monday they're opening back. Something opened Monday and then the next Monday something. But earlier I saw Anderson packing the cooler. Why saying go with backwards? What is man putting in that cooler? And then again, when I was looking around, I was wondering if Sujit has a tape. Because you know, they say because of the pandemic, wastewater. That's cool. I was wondering if Sujit has a tape. Maybe somebody should move the cooler from the sun and just put it in the shade anyway. Please. Because of the pandemic, we're supposed to be having social distancing. And I saw you people compacted so much. I wanted to get a tape and mark 6 feet here. Put a mark 6 feet here. So we'll have that. Anyway, that's by the way. This morning we are very, very blessed with the presence of the President of the Chinmaya Mission. And whenever we meet, whatever the function might be, happy or sad, I always ask him to say a few words for us. President Rupi, please.
Hello. Today, I've learned quite a lot about this family. You know, there is a saying, a chip of the old block, but I think is a block of the old block. I have known Mrs. Bhola since I joined the Chinmaya Mission. A wonderful person and a very ardent supporter of the Chinmaya Mission as well. She has motivated quite a lot of people. I know when she was ailing, we used to visit her. And she did not speak about her illness. What she spoke about is about the community, about religion, and sometimes she will sing as well for us. And I have seen this same thing happening here today. That spirit and that joy that emanated from Mrs. Bhola has found itself among all the family. I'm not acquainted with the deceased as such, but with Arunaji, who has joined the ashram, and her mom as well. And they too are quite wonderful people. The Bhola family, I did not know quite as much, but joining the ashram, I always heard the Bhola family has sponsored this and has sponsored that, not knowing who it was. Today, I know what is it all about. And I must commend all the family and be thankful for the wonderful support you have given to the Chennai mission, as well as the community at large. I know, hearing Panditji last night, that the deceased has prepared his journey well. This important journey, he has been preparing for it all the way along. And I'm